Catherine, the Duchess of Kent, has passed away at the age of 92. Buckingham Palace releasing a statement confirming she died at her home in Kensington Palace.
When the Duchess of Kent passed away at 92, no one expected the storm her funeral would unleash. But it wasn't her death that shocked the palace. It was the way she chose to be honored. For the first time in modern royal history, Westminster Cathedral would host a full Catholic requiem mass, shattering centuries of tradition. Even seasoned courtiers were unsettled. So how could one quiet duchess provoke such controversy and defy royal convention? This is the story behind her unprecedented farewell. A royal farewell like no other. The passing of Catherine, Duchess of Kent, at the age of 92, brought an end to a life defined by quiet dignity, compassion, and a determination to live on her own terms. Yet it is not merely her death that has captured the attention of the public and royal observers alike. It is the unprecedented way her funeral has been arranged. For the first time in modern British history, a royal funeral will break with the centuries-old Anglican traditions of the Church of England. Instead, Catherine will be honored with a full Catholic requiem mass at Westminster Cathedral. A choice that would have been unimaginable in the strict protocols of the past. The Duchess's coffin will initially rest at Kensington Palace, allowing her family, close friends, and confidants a quiet, private moment to honor her memory and say their farewells. On September 15th, it will be moved to the Grand Westminster Cathedral, where solemn Catholic rites, including the reception and evening vespers, will be observed, enveloping all in reverent reflection. The following day at 2 p.m., the Requiem Mass she had thoughtfully requested long before her passing will take place, celebrating her life and devotion. After the service, she will be laid to rest at Frogmore in Windsor, the serene royal grounds that have long held generations of the monarchy. To historians and royal watchers, this funeral represents far more than a personal farewell. It is a historic rupture with tradition. Westminster Cathedral, which opened its doors in 1903, has never before hosted a royal funeral. Until now, the rituals of mourning for the royal family were tightly bound to the Church of England, the faith historically linked to the monarchy itself. Catherine's choice to embrace Catholic rites places personal conviction and faith above protocol, sending ripples through royal circles and challenging the expectations of centuries. What makes Catherine's farewell extraordinary is more than its religious meaning. It reflects her unwavering courage and independence. Even in death, she quietly affirmed her values, boldly asserting individuality within the royal family. Choosing Westminster Cathedral and Catholic rites, she defied centuries of tradition, leaving a legacy remembered not only for its historical significance, but for the quiet bravery of a woman who lived unapologetically on her own terms and stayed true to her principles until the end. Her funeral shattered centuries of tradition, shaking the monarchy to its core. But how did she begin her journey, and what brought her into the heart of the royal circle? What truly earned her the right to such a historic farewell? Now let us uncover the remarkable story of Catherine Worsley's path to the crown. From Hovingham Hall to the royal spotlight, Catherine Worsley entered the world on 22 February 1933, born as the only daughter of Sir William Worsley, a distinguished baronet whose life embodied both tradition and public service. Her father's accomplishments were remarkable. He captained the Yorkshire cricket team, served as president of the Marylebone Cricket Club, and later became Lord Lieutenant of the North Riding of Yorkshire. Growing up at Hovingham Hall, the family's ancestral estate, Catherine was surrounded by centuries of history, grand architecture, and an enduring sense of heritage. Yet within these walls, steeped in tradition, she discovered her own passions, particularly a profound love for the arts, which would shape the trajectory of her life. From an early age, Catherine displayed extraordinary musical talent. She learned to play the piano, organ, and violin, mastering each instrument with dedication and precision that would remain with her throughout her life. Music was far more than a hobby. It became a defining force, nurturing discipline, creativity, and a quiet inner strength. This early immersion in the arts not only enriched her upbringing but also instilled in her the courage to make choices guided by conviction, even when those choices diverged from the rigid expectations of royal life. Fate intervened in 1956, bringing Catherine into contact with Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, who was stationed near her family home at Catterick. Their first meeting sparked an immediate connection, and over the following years, their bond deepened into a lasting companionship. By March 1961, their engagement was publicly announced, drawing widespread attention and anticipation from the nation. The couple's union culminated in a grand wedding at York Minster on the 8th of June of the same year, a ceremony celebrated nationwide and watched by countless admirers. This marriage marked the beginning of Catherine's entry into the royal family, ushering her into a world dominated by protocol, scrutiny, and centuries-old tradition. Yet even as she navigated this new life under public gaze, her early experiences, shaped by music, discipline, and a deep sense of personal identity, would guide her. Catherine carried her passions and convictions quietly but firmly, laying the foundation for a life that balanced royal duty with personal authenticity. Her journey from Hovingham Hall to York Minster was not merely a passage into royalty. It was the start of a path defined by grace, independence, and a steadfast commitment to living life on her own terms. From Hovingham Hall to York Minster, Catherine's royal journey began. But would she follow royal protocol her entire life or carve her own path? Now let's uncover how the Duchess of Kent boldly shattered centuries of royal tradition. The conversion that shook the palace. The extraordinary story behind the Duchess of Kent's funeral begins nearly 3 decades ago, rooted in a deeply personal choice that would reverberate through the royal family for years. In 1994, Catherine made a momentous decision. She converted to Roman Catholicism, becoming the first senior royal to do so since 1685. To the outside world, it appeared as a sincere and private spiritual journey, an expression of faith. But inside the walls of the palace, it sent shockwaves that were anything but subtle. The monarchy's identity has long been intertwined with the Church of England, with the sovereign serving as its supreme governor. For centuries, laws like the Act of Settlement of 1701 barred Catholics from the line of succession, cementing a centuries-old connection between crown and church. By publicly embracing Catholicism, Catherine inadvertently challenged one of the monarchy's most enduring traditions. What might have seemed a personal spiritual choice became, in the eyes of some within the establishment, a direct confrontation with royal precedent. Inside the palace, reactions were immediate and, at times, harsh. Courtiers were reportedly shocked and deeply uneasy, while historians later recalled whispers describing her decision as reckless and disruptive. To certain traditionalists, Catherine had crossed a line, choosing Rome over Canterbury and testing boundaries that had long been considered inviolable. Even though Queen Elizabeth quietly offered her blessing, the move was impossible to ignore. Headlines from the day hinted at tension, warning that her conversion might reopen historical divisions long thought settled. Here's a rephrased and expanded version in 70 words. The uproar wasn't limited to the public. Among aristocrats, her decision was whispered about as a bold taboo breaker. Outwardly, the monarchy kept its composed, regal image, yet behind palace walls, tension simmered. Privately, many insiders regarded Catherine as daring, even deliberately challenging, a royal quietly pushing the boundaries of convention. Her actions, subtle yet unmistakable, revealed a fearless willingness to test just how far tradition could bend before it snapped. Catherine's choice reflected a deeper truth about her life. It was marked by quiet defiance and steadfast personal conviction. While she fulfilled her royal duties with grace, she showed that personal faith and individual conscience could coexist alongside centuries of tradition. Even when her decisions sparked controversy, she remained true to herself, proving that authenticity and courage could quietly challenge expectations within the rigid framework of royal life. Catherine's bold conversion shook centuries of royal tradition, leaving courtiers stunned and uneasy. But her defiance didn't stop there. What other choices set her apart? Now, let's unravel how she abandoned royal grandeur to claim freedom, purpose, and a life lived entirely on her own terms. From crowns to classrooms. After her conversion to Catholicism, Catherine, Duchess of Kent, began a remarkable and unexpected new chapter in her life. In 1996, she quietly stepped back from public royal duties, a move that raised eyebrows across the palace and the press. Some observers interpreted her withdrawal as a consequence of controversy, a subtle sidelining after her faith had stirred unease within royal circles. Yet, for Catherine, it was not a retreat, but a conscious embrace of simplicity and purpose, a chance to devote herself to a more meaningful, hands-on calling, teaching music in primary schools. In the classroom, Catherine left behind all the weight of her royal life, titles, ceremonies, and endless expectations. There, she was simply a teacher, patient, kind, and deeply committed to guiding young minds. Many students never guessed that the gentle mentor before them was a duchess. Away from cameras, headlines, and the relentless gaze of the public, she discovered a quieter, more genuine happiness. The laughter of children, the flow of lessons, and the thrill of watching curiosity bloom brought her a joy far richer than any gala or official event ever could. Her journey of independence took another bold step in 2002, when she made the unprecedented decision to relinquish the style of Her Royal Highness. To many within palace walls, this was shocking, a rejection of the grandeur, symbolism, and carefully curated image of monarchy. Yet for Catherine, it represented liberation. By stepping away from titles and protocol, she redefined what it meant to be a royal, asserting that personal conviction and authenticity could take precedence over tradition. Her choices quietly unsettled traditionalists who favored a polished, predictable royal image, yet they also spoke volumes about her courage and self-determination. Publicly, the palace honored her for her dedication to music, her empathy, and her work with children. Tributes highlighted her commitment to education and the arts. Yet beneath the polished statements lay an unspoken truth. Catherine had walked away from the royal machine on her own terms. She had chosen a life defined by service, humility, and personal meaning rather than ceremony and prestige. In doing so, she became a symbol of quiet rebellion. A duchess whose legacy was not just her royal title, but the courage to live fully according to her own principles, inspiring admiration, debate, and enduring respect. She walked away from royal grandeur, carving a life of freedom, purpose, and lasting impact. But will her bold choices be fully accepted? How will the palace react to a funeral that defies centuries of tradition? Let's delve into the astonishing truth: the brutal reaction to a Catholic farewell. As the Duchess of Kent's funeral approaches, long-standing controversies resurface with fresh intensity. What might have been a conventional royal farewell has instead become unprecedented: a senior royal honored with a full Catholic requiem mass. Some hail this choice as profoundly symbolic, while others question whether it challenges centuries of Anglican tradition, sparking uneasy debates about the monarchy's delicate and enduring ties to the Church of England. Inside the royal household, the atmosphere is complex and, at times, tense. King Charles and Queen Camilla are set to attend, lending the ceremony the weight of the crown, yet whispers suggest that not all courtiers are at ease. For some, this is a dignified and heartfelt farewell. For others, it is an unmistakable reminder of a duchess who consistently charted her own path, refusing to conform to the strict expectations of royal protocol. The choice of a Catholic requiem has sparked intense debate among critics and royal traditionalists. Many fear it could set a precedent, encouraging future royals to choose personal religious rites and potentially challenge the monarchy's historic role as defender of the Anglican faith. Conservative commentators warn it is a dangerous departure, exposing the fragile balance between centuries of royal tradition and the freedom of personal conviction. Although the Duchess of Kent's funeral will not be broadcast on television, curiosity, speculation, and analysis have filled the silence. Was she quietly criticized behind closed doors? Did her unwavering independence create distance from the inner circles of royalty? The palace has offered no official comment, maintaining its usual discretion, yet the undercurrents are unmistakable. Behind the composed public facade, whispers suggest unease among certain royal insiders. The funeral stands as a ceremony both respectful and poignant, yet it quietly challenges centuries of tradition, testing the limits of royal expectation while honoring a life lived on her own terms. Catherine's farewell is more than a ceremony. It is a reflection of a life lived on her own terms, a reminder that tradition can coexist, but not always harmoniously, with personal conviction. Her funeral embodies both dignity and quiet rebellion, a final act that underscores the Duchess's independence, challenges the norms of royal convention, and leaves historians, commentators, and the palace alike grappling with its significance. In this unprecedented moment, the echoes of her choices resonate louder than ever, shaping the legacy of a duchess who refused to be confined by protocol. Her unprecedented Catholic funeral defied centuries of royal tradition, sparking whispers that will echo through history. But what truly defines her legacy beyond this bold act? Now let's uncover the remarkable and lasting achievements of the Duchess of Kent. From royal titles to real impact. In 2004, the Duchess of Kent turned her lifelong love of music into a mission that would change young lives. She founded Future Talent, a charity with a bold vision to ensure that every child, regardless of background, had the chance to discover and develop their musical gifts. The charity sought to do for musically talented children what encouragement and opportunity once did for the fictional Billy Elliot in dance. Unlock hidden potential and transform lives through passion and discipline. Future Talent worked directly with schools, building partnerships that went far beyond traditional lessons. It provided instruments for children who could not afford them, offered tuition to nurture raw ability, and, in truly exceptional cases, arranged master classes with leading musicians. Whether a child dreamed of singing, playing the violin, or strumming an electric guitar, the charity gave them the tools and guidance to pursue those dreams, sometimes even leading to professional careers in music. The Duchess's commitment to the arts was not limited to Future Talent. She served as ambassador for Aldeburgh Productions in Suffolk, and for an astonishing 35 years held the role of president of the Royal Northern College of Music in Manchester, one of the most respected music institutions in the country. In addition, she supported the National Foundation for Youth Music in London as a trustee, constantly advocating for young people to have the same opportunities she cherished in her own youth. Her humanitarian reach extended far beyond the concert hall. With UNICEF and voluntary services overseas, she traveled the globe, shining a light on communities suffering deprivation. In 1999 alone, her work took her to Cambodia, Macedonia, and Nepal, where she lent her presence and influence to draw attention to urgent humanitarian needs. Closer to home, her compassion found many outlets. She became president of NCH Action for Children and also served as president and board member of Macmillan Cancer Relief, where she helped strengthen support for families facing illness. As chair of the London Committee of the Manchester Christie Hospital Appeal, she championed one of the country's leading cancer hospitals. Yet perhaps most moving was her work at the grassroots level. At the Passage Night Shelter for the Homeless, founded by Cardinal Basil Hume, the Duchess gave her time as a volunteer. Stripped of titles and ceremony, she served with humility, proving that her concern for others was never symbolic. It was deeply personal. Through music, charity, and selfless service, she crafted a lasting legacy. But why is she hailed as a quiet revolutionary, yet also criticized within palace walls? And how did her unprecedented choices, including her historic funeral, challenge the monarchy's very notions of faith, identity, and tradition? Let's find out. The Quiet Revolutionary. Catherine, Duchess of Kent, was never a rebel in the way history often celebrates. She did not challenge the press with scandals, nor did she make dramatic speeches that shook the public stage. Her defiance was quieter, more subtle yet no less powerful. It was expressed through deeply personal decisions, choices that resonated far beyond the immediate moment and carried a weight few could ignore. Converting to Catholicism, stepping back from the public royal duties, relinquishing the style of Her Royal Highness, and ultimately choosing a funeral that defied centuries of tradition. Each of these actions was understated yet seismic, reshaping the expectations of what a royal life could be. Her legacy is that of a quiet revolutionary. Catherine insisted on living authentically, guided by her conscience and her convictions. Even when doing so, unsettled the palace and challenged convention. Admirers remember her as courageous, deeply compassionate, and unwavering in her faith. Critics, however, viewed some of her choices as disruptive, perhaps even reckless. That delicate tension between admiration and unease, reverence and criticism, is what makes her story so compelling. She never sought the spotlight, yet her influence on the monarchy and its traditions was profound. The Duchess of Kent's funeral at Westminster Cathedral will be remembered as an unprecedented moment in royal history, a bold departure from centuries of Anglican tradition and a final testament to her fiercely independent spirit. For the royal family, it is a time of mourning and introspection. For historians, it marks a transformative chapter, reshaping the narrative of monarchy. For traditionalists, it stands as a subtle provocation, quietly challenging the rigidity and expectations of long-held royal customs. Catherine's life and final farewell reveal that quiet, thoughtful actions can hold immense power. She proved that authenticity, personal conviction, and moral courage can coexist with duty, even when such choices challenge tradition and expectations. Her influence was never flashy or overt. It was found in subtle, principled decisions made away from public scrutiny. It is these private acts, unseen by the world but guided by integrity, that leave the most lasting, profound mark on history. Ultimately, the Duchess of Kent teaches that the most profound echoes often come from the quietest voices. Through steadfast faith, courage, and a determined commitment to her own path, she compelled the monarchy, and the world watching it, to confront complex questions of identity, tradition, and personal freedom. Her life embodied subtle defiance, showing that influence need not be loud to be powerful. Her legacy stands as a lasting testament to the extraordinary impact of living authentically, remaining true to oneself, even when it defies expectation or provokes controversy. So, what do you think about the Duchess's funeral breaking tradition and the reaction? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.